All right, everybody, welcome to the Across the Booth podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Derek. And
I'm Scott.
let's restart.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
No, keep it rolling.
All right.
It's with fear and trepidation, guys. You'll know
Yeah.
why in a minute.
Yeah. So in this podcast, we want to reach across the booth and into culture and talk about just plain everyday things and how they relate in the life of a young person. Nothing too serious. It's a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. And so be sure to follow us on all the socials to stay up to date with this show. And with that, let's hop into the next episode of the Across the Booth podcast. Man, do we have a great show for you guys today. You're definitely not going to want to cut this episode off early. And I'm sure there's a lot of laughs coming your way and possibly even some opportunities for you to see one of us get sick. So, Scott, how are you feeling today?
I was feeling really good, and now I'm not real sure. Kind of queasy, a little nervous, but but excited to get through this.
Yeah. Well, let's change that attitude real quick. So today, Scott and I are going to be doing a little bit that we like to call Rate That Not So Soda. And so I've purchased an 8-pack of some of the craziest and, just to be honest with you, gross sodas that I could find on the dark pages of the internet. And so it is up to Scott and I to rate these sodas and see if this is truly something that we would drink on just a normal occasion. So let me start by asking you this, Scott. Are you normally a soda person?
Yes. I've always been Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Mellow Yellow.
I get that.
But several times over the past few years, I've tried to lose weight, so I kept drinking Coke Zero until I could actually swallow it, and now I kind of like it okay. But this is not even in
the range.
No. Let's just say we've shown up at the wrong ballpark today for for good soda.
So let the record show that it is currently 10:30 in the morning, and we're both pretty amped up, pretty anxious, and just to be quite honest with you, this is just going to be awful. So I guess the best way to do it is just to hop right in. Scott, do you have a preference of which one you want to go first? Well, let me ask you this. Which one are you worried about the most?
The ranch dressing one.
Ranch?
Because I still smelling it. I mean, sweet corn is the strongest smell out of all of them, but the ranch dressing is the scariest smell.
Yeah, so sweet corn definitely for me. I just smell it, and it just doesn't smell good, just to be honest. So, well, let's get started. We both have kind of to washer drinks here, and I brought a Dr. Pepper. Scott, what you want to start with?
Well, if it's all right with you.
Yep.
I think since I'm facing them, I'd just soon go left to right.
Okay.
So it's straight bacon. It's called bacon soda.
Bacon.
And we have I've already kind of poured it out in one sip size little things. So
all right.
Oh my gosh.
So this is what it looks like. This is a bacon flavored soda. And so, Scott, I guess what we're going to do is
I should have got those small communion cups.
Yeah.
That would have been way better.
A lot better. We'll just drink it, and then you and I are going to just rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. Sound good?
Okay.
And just so the listeners know, like, I'm really nervous that I'm going to puke. I don't handle taste well, especially bad tasting things, and so I got me a trash can.
I'm not necessarily scared of throwing it up,
100%.
But I do have something I can spit it back into, so I don't have to actually swallow that taste if it's that bad.
I'm afraid of throwing up. So all right, here we go. So cheers.
3, 2, 1.
I didn't even drink all of it.
Hey, that's
That's awful. Oh my God.
It does have a bacony.
I can't finish
a bacony taste. It's not too bad.
Oh, I'm throwing up 100% today.
Now, I'm telling you, I'm not ever going to buy that, and that will go unless we can convince our staff at the church to try these two. Which, guys, it's on you. That's And my glass, my water is clear, so you'll know if I have to spit it back out. But next,
Wait, what would you give that? 1 out of 10.
Well, okay, let me ask this: we're not rating it against any of these. We're just rating straight taste.
Yeah, straight taste.
Oh, I'm gonna go 2.
A 2? Okay.
Because I'm just scared of what these others are going to be.
Yeah, so we got to get a little bit of perspective here. I mean, because obviously, if we're going just straight taste, all of these are going to be probably below 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would say, I'll start by giving that one with a low score of 2 as well, and then that'll kind of give us a starting point to base all of the other ones.
I'm going to write these scores down just so we can keep up with it here.
So drink number 2 is one that I'm actually relatively okay with. Just to be honest with you, I'm not that mad about it. This is a peanut butter and jelly flavored drink. It is looks like lemonade, pink lemonade. Smells terrible. But all right, peanut butter and jelly. You ready, Scott? All right, here we go. Cheers. Not bad. Not bad. Better than the bacon, 100%, in my opinion. Your thoughts?
Yeah, better than the bacon.
Yeah.
But just barely.
Yeah.
Just barely. 2.5.
Oh, okay. So I'll actually give that one a 5.
Well, okay.
And if this is the spectrum that we have to work with, I'll say that's a 5 because I don't have.
Yeah, we're gonna have to judge against that first taste.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to because
none
none of this is in the same ballpark as Dr. Pepper.
No, and I don't have any higher expectations for any of these drinks than the one that I just drank. So,
well, if that's where we're going, then I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go 5 with you also.
Okay.
Now from here on out, my judging will be a little better.
All right.
Bacon with maple syrup. So this is the breakfast soda.
So we get a lot of bacon flavors with this pack here. So bacon with maple syrup.
And it straight smells like maple syrup.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Oh no, I can't. No more.
Ah, man. 1. No, 2. 1.5. 1.5 for me. The aftertaste's terrible. Whew.
I'm gonna go 2.5 because the sweetness is at least better than the bacon.
Yeah,
to me.
Yeah. I can see that. Oh, here we go. All right, next we have a ranch dressing soda. I'm a big ranch guy. What about you?
Oh yeah, I like it on everything except soda.
Oh, that just smells atrocious.
Here we go. Y'all keep your eyes on Derek. He's gonna blow.
Just smell it. Smell. I'm already 1. Oh my god, dude. All right, you ready?
This is gonna be a tiny little sip.
I'm going it. I'm slamming it. Here we go.
Are you really?
Yep.
Okay.
Here we go. Cheers. Oh my god, I'm crying. I really.
That's a 0.
That is a 0. It first hit me, and I was like, "That's not bad," and then
because it's almost soft tasting.
and then I swallowed it, and I was like, "I'm crying." Okay.
I'm out on ranch.
Yeah, that's the worst one by far so far. All right, what is this?
Coffee.
Okay.
This is a coffee soda.
Yeah, this is high expectations here. Smells good. Big coffee guy. Here we go. Cheers. Not bad. Best one so far. I'm gonna go 6, 7. On this spectrum, though, this is a 10 for honestly. Like if this is what we have to judge,
So you going 10?
yeah, that's got to be the best one, hands down.
I am going to go about 8 on that. I still don't want it.
Really,
But
I actually did not hate that. Oh my god, here we go.
so where you ordered these from? Can you order an individual taste?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't have to get a mixed bag.
No,
Okay.
All right.
This is sweet corn, y'all.
sweet corn, and it is a bright yellow, and I have been smelling this.
And it smells just like sweet corn. I mean, it is. It's a dead ringer. Oh. That's my, oh my gosh, I'm dreading this lap.
All right, you ready?
No.
All right,
But
here we go.
yes.
Cheers.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad.
Oh, ugh. 0.
It's still better than ranch, but
0. They're both equally bad.
you went 0. Okay.
Oh my god.
I'm going to go 1 because it's still better than ranch, but this water may not be enough.
I am miserable. All right, what's this? This is another bacon.
Bacon with chocolate.
So dark brown. These are thick too. These are thicker than the average drink. Oh my god. All right, here we go.
It's not. Watch your head.
Oh, that one got me. I legitimately gagged. Oh my god.
I'm gonna go back to about a 2 for me.
I don't know if it's that bad or if they've just started stacking and I'm just
It tastes like you took a flat cola and then put Tootsie Pops in it. You know, like you soaked a chocolate Tootsie Pop.
I do not feel good.
What did you give that?
I'm gonna give that a 1, but I do not feel good about. I'm really gagged. All right, here we go. This is orange, as you can tell, and this is a buffalo wing sauce flavored soft drink. So, big buffalo wing guy. Very low expectations for what I'm about to drink.
This is. I'm sweating. I'm starting to sweat. Hold on.
All right, you ready? Cheers. That's not that bad to me. It's got a little spice.
That's every bit as bad as the ranch dressing.
A little spice. A little spice. A little spice. Not that bad.
I'm back at 0.
Back at 0?
That's awful. And maybe it's the culmination of all of these together, but that one is.
Yeah. So give me a worst and a best out of those 8.
What did you give that
Really
one?
quickly. 4, 5.
Okay, so
Tastes like orange soda.
For me, the coffee was the best at 8. And you said the coffee was the best at 10.
Yeah, coffee's got to be the best.
And the worst,
It's got to be ranch.
for me, it was a tie between ranch and buffalo, both at 0. And for you, you gave ranch and sweet corn a 0.
Okay.
So,
But with the chocolate one, the bacon and chocolate one almost got me. So,
oh god.
anyway, not good. So really that bit works perfectly with. I need to. We'll be right back. So really that bit, it works perfectly with what we're talking about today, because I am sure that we will be tasting these for quite some time, for a good amount of time. The aftertaste is just awful. But today we're talking about the story of the original Joe Bros. And I know what you're thinking. And no, we're not doing movie reviews of Camp Rock or Camp Rock 2 or We're talking about the Jonas Brothers comeback story. We're throwing it all the way back to the original Joe Bros, the story of Joseph and his brothers. And why the bit, I think, works and fits really well into the story is because if you want to talk about leaving a bad taste in someone's mouth, Joseph's brothers had to leave just an awful, terrible taste in Joseph's mouth. But I don't want to get ahead of the story. So what did Joseph's brothers do to leave such a terrible taste in Joseph's mouth? So I think we need to start with who Joseph was. So Joseph was the son of Jacob. Jacob was one who a lot of times was just honestly a not so great guy. If you'll remember that Jacob was the one who stole his brother's birthright, his brother Esau's birthright. And then he ran and then he hid. And so that's the dad of the family that we're working with today. So the bar is not set extremely high. And so Jacob was his youngest, or one of his youngest sons. And what we know is that Jacob, the dad, loved Joseph. He was the golden boy of this family. And it's not even one of those things that he tried to hide. You know what I mean? It's like very out there and very explicit. In fact, one day, Jacob gave his son Joseph this really, really special, super awesome gift. It was a robe that really just to be honest, ticked all of his brothers off. And so dad was really setting Joseph up to fail early on. And so that made Joseph's brothers hate him to begin with. And on top of that, Joseph began to start to have these dreams. And I want you to remember that idea of dreams because that's going to become really important for later on. But in these dreams, Joseph's brothers, and among other things, are actually bowing to Joseph. And so, his brothers hear this. He tells his brothers this, and they're like, heck no. Like, oh, heck no. I don't know who this guy thinks he is. We are never bowing to him. And so the stage is set. Joseph's brothers literally hate him, so much so that Joseph is coming to see his brothers one day, and his brothers see him, and in possibly one of the greatest overreactions that I can think of in history. Genesis 37 says, when Joseph's brothers saw him coming, they recognized him in the distance. And as he approached, they made plans to kill him. So, hey, bro, how was your day? Also, we're kind of going to kill you now. And it says, here comes the dreamer, they said. Come on, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns, and we can tell our father that a wild animal has eaten. And it says, then we will see what comes of his dreams. Verse 21 says, though, but when Reuben heard of this scheme, he came to Joseph's rescue. Finally, you're reading this story, and you're like, somebody with just a smidge of sense, just a little bit of sense. So he says, let's not kill him. And you're like, yes, big Reuben, like, thanks. Thanks for not wanting to kill me. Verse 22, though, says, why should we shed any blood? Let's just throw him into this empty cistern or this empty well here in the wilderness, and then he'll die without us having to lay a hand on him. So even the guy with sense is planning to kill him. And so this whole story is just bizarre to me. This is their brother, right? And and here they are, and they're literally planning to kill him. And so Joseph gets there, and they finally, they tear off his robe and throw him into this well. And so Judah, who's one of his older brothers, who's going to have enough problems in his near future, and so he probably should worry about that, says, guys, we can't kill him. He's our brother. And again, you're like, finally, someone with some sense. But Judah says, so instead, let's just sell him into slavery, and there, problem solved. And so they do this for 20 pieces of silver. They sell Joseph, and he's sold into slavery. And after all of this, he ends up in Egypt at the house of a man named Potiphar. And so he's Potiphar's servant, and just through another crazy, bizarre story that we just don't really have time for, Potiphar's wife kind of gets the feels for Joseph. Joseph doesn't reciprocate said feels, and so with all of that said, Potiphar's wife really schemes behind Joseph's back and gets him thrown into prison again. And so here we have Joseph in prison. And so, Scott, what happens next?
Well, that I don't know how. I don't know how things get worse, right? Your brothers have plotted to kill you. They've sold you into slavery, all these kinds of things. And then you find yourself in a foreign land. You find yourself in a pretty good job. And then somebody lies on you, and you're just pretty much in trouble at this point. They throw him in prison. And as he's there, also the cupbearer and the baker for the king get thrown in. And as they're there, they have one night they have these dreams, and as they have them, Joseph interprets them. And so he tells them what's going to happen. And of course, if you know the story, then the cupbearer, with his dream, Joseph says, all right, in 3 days, you're going to be restored to your position. And then the baker, he says, all right, in 3 days, the king's going to take you and he's going to kill you. And so, you're done and things are going to get good for you. And he says, so cupbearer, what I want you to do is remember me when you go back before the king. And so he goes, the cupbearer's restored, the baker is killed. 2 years pass before the cupbearer remembers anything about Joseph or mentions him to Pharaoh, does anything to help him. But Pharaoh has this dream. The cupbearer says, oh, I know a Hebrew guy I met in prison when you put me there, and he can interpret dreams. He's done it before, and he was dead on. The baker was dead, and I was restored. That's what he told me was going to happen. And so Pharaoh calls him from the prison. He comes back to them, and and Pharaoh tells him his dream. And he says, I've told it to all my wise people here, and no one can interpret it. But this guy here says you can do it. So, and Joseph is quick to say, which with all that he's been through, this first line shows you his heart. He says, hey, it's not I that can do this, but God can do it. God can tell you. I don't have any special powers, but God can speak through me to you. He can interpret your dream. And so he does, and he tells him, hey, a famine's coming. Man, you got 7 years of really good. God is going to bless. You're going to have incredible crops, and you need to be putting somebody in charge who can put back a fifth of that, and so that after these 7 years, you can have enough food for everybody. And but after that 7 years, like your dream says, the weak things overcome the strong. And so he says, after 7 years, this famine is going to hit, and you're going to even forget how good it was before. And so the Pharaoh says, okay, so I guess what we need to do is put somebody in charge, and I don't know anybody as wise as you are, so I'm going to let you do that. He says, now this guy he just pulled from jail, he says, I'm going to make you my right-hand man. He says, the only thing different in me and you is that I sit on the throne. Everybody's going to listen. Everybody's going to respond. You say do it, they're going to do it. Jump how high kind of deal. So that is what has happened. And so now Joseph has found himself in this position of authority. Mm-hmm. The famine hits. He's saved all this stuff. Everybody in the land knows that Egypt has been putting back all of this grain. And it says he had put back so much, it had been so abundant that he'd even quit counting how much he was putting back. It was just so much stuff. So people from all around were coming to get what they needed. And eventually Joseph's brothers were without, and they came. Their father sent them. And this weird situation happens.
Yeah.
Because Joseph knows who they are, but they don't know who he is, because now he's in a different land. He's painted up like the Egyptians, he's wearing the makeup, and he's in
like a mummy.
Yes, he's all like not Hebrew.
Yeah.
And so as they come, he begins this cat and mouse game with them. Hey, what about your youngest brother? Is he still alive? And one of the things about Jacob,
he's loving this too.
Oh yeah, he's got to be. And one of the things about Jacob is this was during a time when men had many wives, and that last wife there for Jacob, he had 2 sons from her, and it was Joseph and Benjamin, right? Yeah. And so they were especially closer than the other brothers. Of course, they were also younger than the others, which is why he loved them so much and kept them at home a lot instead of out in the field doing work. But anyway, all of that had happened, and Joseph's going, look, don't you have a little brother? And they're going, how does he know that? But yes, we do, but my dad kept him at home. And so, he sends them back home. He lets them take the money he sneaks it back into their stuff. I mean, it's a really cool story of them coming, and eventually the Pharaoh even finds out that the brothers are there and says, bring your whole family, set them up in Goshen, give them a place there. And they do, and they're taken care of, and Joseph and his father are restored, and there's got to be incredibly tense moments and all of that and everything else. But with Joseph, his dad never stopped grieving for him. But in so many ways, he had to have felt forgotten.
Yeah, sure.
You think about the 2 years that he spent in prison after he said, just when you go back to Pharaoh, don't forget who I am. And I guess eventually he didn't, but he was sure hoping to get out of there. But his faithfulness through all those times was pretty amazing.
Yeah. So I guess when I first read this story, it's hard for me not to think about something. And Scott, I'm gonna play this for you real quick. That's what I think. Yeah. I was reading this story and I was like, man, this is like a modern day Simba. And I'm not sure if it's because the Lion King soundtrack gets me every time or because their stories are so similar. But, right, think about the Lion King. Simba is this promised king of the land, right? Darth Vader tells him as far as the eye can see that he's the king of this land. Mufasa tells him that.
Darth Vader. That's great.
Yep. So he what happens? No spoilers, but if you haven't seen the movie by now, then that's your fault. He's displaced by a family member, right? Simba sent into isolation. Scar kind of takes the king, and here's this rightful king who is living the life of eating bugs, being kind of a wanderer, having no home. He's friends with a pig and a meerkat now, and so this rightful king now, minuscule to this life of nothing. But if these stories teach me anything, it's that kind of in our seasons of uncertainty, God is still certain. And I'm sure that there were times in Joseph's life and in Simba's life, both when they're going through this, right, the rightful king, and Simba's like, Simba's like, I'm the rightful king, and Joseph's like, I'm the most loved son of a very wealthy man. And now my life is nothing, right? I'm in isolation. I'm sold into slavery. And so a lot of confusing, right? This is not the way that I thought that my life was going to happen. But know that even in our lives, when that happens, God still remains certain about who we are and about the plans that he has made in our lives. And so everyone right now, it's just uncertain about everything: politics and sickness and disease, social unrest, social injustice, but knowing that God is still certain about his plan for us and still certain about his plan for his people helps us have that peace and helps us have that calmness that we know he is certain of his plans for us. And we know this because Jesus dying on the cross proves that God is certain and proves that God, does have a plan for us. And so it was hard for me not to just think back to the story of Simba and the Lion King, just because their stories are so similar, but just know that even in our seasons of uncertainty and confusion and thinking like this is not the way that I had planned for things to go, God is still certain about those things. So what about you?
Well, in watching the story and the time that he was in the prison, when we talked about that earlier, the 2 years he was waiting, he met those two guys because he was assigned, even in jail, to be their servant. And you look at all that he did through there, and he was faithful in the forgotten times.
Yeah.
He was willing to do what had to be done to just continue, not just to make himself better, but to honor God with the way that he lived. And you talk about a movie, it kind of reminds me of the movie Greater. My family watched that, during this quarantine time, and story of Brandon Burlsworth and how he was a very unlikely college football player. I mean, went on, I hate to use the way it talks about it, but it just says that he was slow, he was undersized as far as not being as big as everyone else, but he was just fat. He wasn't in shape. He had this dream of playing at Arkansas, but he didn't look like your typical football player. He's not going to make it, right? That's what everybody thought. But he walked on, and then he continued to work. He was not getting, looked at strongly, but the coaching staff knew this. Kid's got more heart than anybody else on the team. He wants it more than anybody else. And he kept putting in the work, both in the classroom and out. The story says that he's the first player in Arkansas history to earn his bachelor's and master's while he was playing football. I mean, he was steady, constant, and it paid off in the end. And because of how hard he worked, he was able to bring people along with him. If you watch that movie, and guys, I recommend it strongly. If you watch that movie, you see that he took some of those guys and brought them into his workout regimen. He was helping them along to be better as well. I think we see that in the life of Joseph in through these really hard times. And there's never a time where we should give up, where we should back down. You may find yourself in a place that you said, I never thought I'd end up here. This is just such a rough time. And I know it's hard, so I'm not telling you that these are the easy things to do. They're just the right things to do. When you find yourself in a forgotten time, in a difficult time, God has not left you. He is still right beside you. And continue to trust him, be strong in him, and just see where he takes you. All the things Joseph went through that time prepared him to lead those people at the end. And there's a lot of times in our life where we just see our valleys as really rough times. But the truth is, the hilltops are usually barren. It's the valley that's lush and green, and that's where we find we gain our strength back to be able to climb that next mountain.
Yeah. Well, good. So, story of Joseph is obviously a confusing one, and just a word of advice to anyone out there who has brothers: if they attempt to throw you in a well, then the joke's on them, because they're going to be asking you for food one day. But again, hey guys, thanks for tuning in to episode 3 of the Across the Booth podcast. It was a fun one. I hope you all enjoyed it.
I still feel rough.
Yeah, I'm going to go throw up now. So thanks again for listening to episode 3 of the Across the Booth podcast. So again, follow all the socials below to stay up to date with the show. And yeah, if anybody wants to try any of these awesome drinks, leave a comment, let us know, and we have plenty left. So again, thanks guys. Have a good one. See you next Wednesday.